When I presented my proposal for an EU law to prevent and fight child sexual abuse, something happened that I didn't see coming. Survivors coming forward, defying shame, defying trauma, defying stigma, bearing witness, sharing your stories of abuse. Scharliina, Juan, Matthias, Mie, and all of you here today from all over Europe, saying, let what happened to me happen to no other child. I want you to know this law is your law. And you have achieved so much already. Thanks to you, we no longer speak of victims. We talk about survivors. Thanks to you, survivors' voices are heard in the European Parliament, in European governments, and in the European Commission. And you have mobilized support. More than 150 tech experts and civil society experts signed a letter in support. 80% of Europeans support my proposal, according to Eurobarometer. A poll by ECPAT confirms this overwhelming support. In September, over 100 survivors demanded tech companies to take action. In November, nearly 50 child rights organizations and 100 public figures came out in support of my original proposal. And today, you present this petition. To Guido, I say, thank you for this initiative. Thank you for this petition in support of my proposal. And thank you, all of you, for sending such a powerful message. You can all be proud because you are doing a tremendous job. Collecting over 500,000 signatures, 541,000 something. As children, you had no power, but now you have. You have power. And thanks to you, the debate is shifting. At first, some critics of my proposal refused to even discuss child sexual abuse, did not even mention it, only wanted to discuss privacy. But how can you refuse to discuss child sexual abuse when you know that abuse destroys childhood, destroys lives? Now even my strongest critics acknowledge the scale of the child sexual abuse, the threat of online abuse, and the need to act. And that's thanks to you. When survivors speak out, no one can keep silent. But there is still a lot of work to do. Far often, people think that we are talking about teenagers exploring their sexuality online. But what we are talking about is brutal sexual violence and rape of very young children, even newborn babies. We see the pattern. The younger the child, the worse the sexual violence. I spoke to one father whose 1-year-old daughter had been tied down with tape and raped again and again by a neighbor who shared this video online. This kind of violent material, the so-called category A material, has doubled in 3 years. It's not enough to condemn abuse. It's not enough to say you would of course protect children. We also need effective actions. I want to introduce obligations on internet companies to first of all prevent child sexual abuse online. Child safety by design. But prevention is not enough either. A 1-year-old child who is being raped cannot click a reporting button on internet. Often the only way to stop abuse is through detection by internet companies, as they have been doing voluntary already for more than 10 years. Because the abuse happens behind closed doors. The perpetrators share the abuse in messages sent online. Last year, in the European Union alone, Companies sent 1.5 million reports containing 5.2 million videos, pictures, and grooming attempts in the EU alone in 1 year. This is the detection that is ongoing today. These reports help to identify children suffering abuse. Last year, for example, 102 children were identified in Cyprus. 385 children were identified in Italy. 2,300 children were identified in Poland in 1 year alone. And this is the way to rescue children. This is a silent crime that goes on behind locked doors. And this is the way to find the children and to rescue the children. In recent weeks, reports by internet companies helped police in the Netherlands to stop 150 perpetrators. Yesterday, a Norwegian man was convicted for abusing 50 children. I want to oblige companies to detect, but only as a matter of last resort. Only if prevention fails, only after a court decision, and only with approved technology. The technology works like a police dog that's sniffing drugs, only finding abuse, nothing else. In France, 700 suspects from 70 countries shared abuse in 40 signal groups. So encrypted services should also be obliged to prevent abuse and detect if they can't or won't. If not, perpetrators won't even need the dark web anymore. If my proposal is not adopted, it will be forbidden in the European Union to detect child sexual abuse in online messages. And police will no longer be able to use this detection to rescue children. The interim legislation will expire in August. The interim legislation that allows this detection. A majority of member states support my proposal, but the Council has still not been able to agree on a general approach with a qualified majority. So they need some more time for the democratic process. But the rapes will continue, so the detection could not stop. So last week I proposed to prolong the interim regulation to make sure that we have the time necessary to find the final solution on the legislation. Europe needs a permanent law to protect children and to end abuse. Europe needs a center to prevent and fight child sexual abuse. I stand by my proposal. I will do what it takes to make it happen. I owe it to you, who are so brave. And so we must also be brave. And when I look at you, I know we can do it. I thank you again for all you are doing, and thank you for speaking up for the children.
Thank you. Thank you. And I see some of the... May I also suggest Mep Sarsalejos and Mep Isaskun Bilbao also to join the photos? Please, you can join the photo. Javier Sarsalejos. Maybe if the other survivor wants to come and want to stay here in this row, there's more space. Come up here if you want. So there's more space. Yes.